What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of JMB Unsupervised. I'm Jacob. That's Brandon. Listen, before we get into our episode, we just want to give our thoughts and prayers out to everyone affected by Hurricane Helene. Is that what we named that hurricane?
I think that's what we named it.
So, a lot of crazy stuff going on that coast. Just all the devastation that we've seen. So, people losing their lives and stuff like that. So, our thoughts, prayers. If you're able to donate, help out, give what you can. The real story about this whole stuff that I don't want to dwell too much on because we don't do a whole lot of politics over here, but it infuriates me that our Vice President, Kamala Harris, and our current President, Joe Biden,
Sleepy Joe,
sent over $8 billion overseas between Ukraine and Israel, and we're only giving the people that have been devastated by the hurricane $750, and they literally told them you can apply. How the fuck do you want them to apply? There is no electricity. There's no Wi-Fi. Cell phone tower.
my house is gone, dog. My house is floating down
I'm not even trying to we are laughing about it because I am angry. We sent $8 billion overseas, and we have people right now that we could use that money for, and instead, that's where we're going. We've already said, do your research, do your own vote. We're not endorsing one or the other. Do your research, vote, coming up in November.
Or don't vote if
that's
your prerogative. Don't feel like you're forced to do one or the other.
That really upsetted me, that $750. What is that going to do? My house is not on the foundation no more. Like, it's gone. Like, the $750, like, what does that buy you? A pack of gum? Like, man, that is so...
I stand at Motel 6.
Like, that is so infuriating. But
it's just crazy that we seem to send more aid.
Who's sending us money, bro? Like,
nobody.
Did someone send me money?
That's
Please.
the sad thing is there's no country coming to bail us out whenever there's a national disaster or anything, but we're more than willing to send money elsewhere.
Billions of dollars overseas.
Just think if they would have invested that $8 billion here in the United States and our infrastructure and our health care and our schooling.
What
point did we ever start taking care of our own?
I didn't want to dwell on it too much, but like that is just infuriating. Another big thing that's going on in the world right now that's got everybody fired up is the union strike along the ports from Texas all the way up to Maine. Over 45,000 plus employees are on strike, and it's got the world in a big frenzy, right?
In a certain way, and some people are very uneducated about unions. We are ourselves union members, and whether you like them or dislike them, you need to be educated on what unions actually came from. And it wasn't for unions back in the day, you wouldn't have OSHA, you wouldn't have days off, you wouldn't have 8-hour work days. Most places.
The one thing I don't like that people are using the strike, the hurricanes on the coast. You can't help when the contract expires. The contract expires.
What the hell does a hurricane have to do with those people in the ports? They worked through it. They were. I
guess what else infuriates me is people. You have literally people out here on social media. If your job can be automated, then it should be automated. Like, why do you want jobs taken away from the public? In the U.S., I don't understand. We're in this technology era. A robot can do your job, and people are like, well, if it can be automated, just automate it. You do realize that puts people out of a job.
Well, what are you going to do? So, I think people don't quite understand. So, these guys, they work. No matter the weather, no matter the hurricane, no matter what is going on the coast, on the ocean, whatever's going on, where the port is, no matter what the weather is, they are working, no matter what. Guarantee you, your little robot's getting fried by the ocean.
I guess for me with this thing, people are mad about the strike, and they're mad because it's affecting them because goods are now being shorted. There's things that are, it's just more of the fact of if you're gonna speak on something, just educate yourself. And I get a lot of people are upset because they feel like they want a 70% raise increase over the life of the contract, which is about 6 years. And the general public is mad because I guess it came out that they could have took a 60 to a 65% chance.
It was a 55,
and they turned it down. And people gotta understand, you as a union, you vote, and whatever it comes up to, that's what you go with. Not everybody probably voted to strike. It's the same way when our union goes. Not everybody votes to go on strike, even though you're supposed to, but you do what what the vote comes out.
Everybody votes in unions. Everybody votes to write the strike. It's the only power you have. But when it came to accepting or declining that proposal that came back at 55%, the majority said no. And honestly, get your money. Like, why? I get it.
These big corporations are making billions of dollars.
Everybody's upset because the government, because Joe Biden and the United States government can step in and tell them go back to work, which is fine and dandy. But he already said he wasn't going to, and everyone's like, oh, the shortages, the price hike on goods because of the shortage. How about instead of force people back to work, let the union and the companies hash it out, and the government enforce a law to where Walmart's, Dillon's, Aldi's, Walgreens, all the stores, Sam's Club, Costco's, they can't hike their prices up because of price and demand. Yep. It's a hard locked-in price because the goods are coming. They're just going to be a little delayed.
Another thing about the thing is with the ports down, I think it's right around, $5 billion is going to cost the United States every day that they're down or something like that. So, again, I don't think this is going to be like a week-long strike. I think they'll get it figured out. Hopefully they get it figured out, those guys. But people also got to realize, too, these people are not making no money. There's no food going on their table for their kids, themselves. They're out there, so it's not...
But you, as being in a union though, leading up into it, you put back, you save for it. If you're being intelligent, you prepare for a month, 2 months strike.
We coming up in 26. We've been working a lot of overtime this year, starting to put money back. Like he said, last year was spending, this year's saving. So that's what it's been. But that is the stuff that's going on in the real world. Like I said, do your research, go and vote or don't vote. And we'll see how long this strike lasts on the ports from Texas to Maine. But getting into our actual stuff here in the...
drink review.
Oh, yes, we did. We have a drink review that's going to be out. We did the Sunny D vodka seltzers.
Well, they're so good. Man, I tell you, I couldn't get myself a
video's going to be out this weekend.
10 out of 10. Go scoop them up before they're gone. Or you got orange orange strawberry, tang orange, and orange pineapple.
We're on to something else.
That shit was great. Go scoop it up, 8-pack, about $20, about 4.5% alcohol volume, 95 calories a can. Go get yourself some. Yum. Pour it up on ice or out of the can.
Be out this weekend.
But just so you know, old colors, all the same, they all white. Just so you know, a little tidbit. And him, he can't handle seltzer. He burping.
It had me burping. I thought
he was going to throw up. But they are delicious. I can't stress how great they are. Go watch the review.
The sarcasm in this room right now is you could build.
It's getting deep.
It's getting deep. Moving on to the NFL side of our sports talk. Davante Adams finally has requested a trade out of the Las Vegas Raiders. Man, this is interesting because a lot of people are upset with Davante, but people forget he came to the Raiders, wanted to come to the Raiders for one person and one person only. That was Derek Carr. And they blew that experiment.
Was it for the owner?
No.
Oh, okay.
He did not come there for that. They shipped Derek Carr off after one season together, and
they released him.
And it just has not gone good. You've seen video of Davante literally, you got to get me the fuck out of here. I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna die.
That was last year, and right now he's out with a hamstring injury. But we all know why he's out. He will be traded, but with him being on trade block every week that he's not traded, another $1 million falls off that salary. Mm-hmm. So.
Becomes cheaper for
the question becomes
cap struck.
Where does D Adams go? Where does Davante Adams going? Well, people think he's going to the Jets, and I just don't know if he's going to AFC.
So I'll give you 3 teams I'd like to see him go to, and then maybe 3 teams that I think
he's going to the Chiefs, right? He's coming to us, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everyone's trying to link him to that. No,
I don't understand how that.
Well, so shout out to our main man in Kansas City, that gives Kansas City a lot of love, Nick Wright. He said it would be really smart for the Raiders to trade in division with the Chiefs, long as you as an organization know you're on different levels. Kansas City, we're on the path to trying to three-peat. We're winning the division. We're potentially going to get the number 1 seed. The Raiders are on a rebuild. They have a full-time new head coach in Antonio Pierce.
Yep.
You have a very young roster. So if you trade not an expiring contract, but knowing that you're going to trade him to the Chiefs And the Chiefs aren't going to keep his $35 million next year. He's going to be off the books. We're going to release him. It's a 1-year rental, and you then take draft capital that we've been really good at using in the draft and drafting. You take our draft capital, and you use it to help grow your roster. Like, that's kind of smart. Like, you got, like, there's some.
But then it's the Raiders Chiefs, and I just don't see it happen.
Division. But again, like, if you look at it, like, knowing that you are better than me right now, someone take your draft assets and go and draft somebody that's going to help me beat you.
Yeah.
And you're only going to have Davante Adams for 1 year, but I'm going to have this dude for 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
Help me beat you. But who I logically think he might go, I could see the 49ers, because CMC, Brandon Ayuk has not looked the same, so I can see the 49ers, the Jets, and I could see the Steelers. Or the 3 teams I can see logically him going to.
Yeah. I think, I know he's came out and he said that he would like to play with the quarterback he's been with before, and that would be Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers.
Well, it came out that he wants to go to the Jets, but I think those 3 teams all can afford him.
Yes.
All have the draft capital to acquire him, which they said pretty much needs to be a second-round pick and then a little something.
Yep. So.
And the Steelers, to me, is very intriguing. They get Justin Fields, who is starting to kind of come into his own there a little bit.
Too, even though it's a little bit of a rebuild, but that
also helps.
That's spicy.
Scary Terry Daniels as a rookie, even though he's only 4 weeks in, has been looking good. But then the Niners, they're really kind of all in. If you're a lot of injury prone, Brock Purdy, he's that dude. And with Brandon Ayuk not looking great, CMC coming back at some point later this year.
Hopefully.
You can use Debo more as that second, that comes more about 3 or 4 years ago, Debo out of the backfield. And then obviously the Jets.
For the most part, pretty much all the main contenders are in on Davante Adams. And from what we've heard from, I wouldn't say our sources, but out there, he'd probably be traded sometime next week.
Well, they said he's getting traded next week. It's not happening this week. He's out this week with a hammy.
I think there's going to be a lot of movement before the trade deadline. A lot of guys out there: Amari Cooper, Davante Adams, DeAndre Hopkins. There's so many guys out there that could be moved.
The Cowboys are linked to Davante Adams.
Yeah,
and they can actually afford him too. Right now.
I'd cry for Davante. I'd feel bad for him.
Well, a lot of people said if the Cowboys make that move, it'd be a show that you're all in kind of move.
That would be a.
But they called them the Dallas Dolphins. No run game, and you're just all glitz and glam.
Yeah, that's really what all you really would be. But we'll have to see where it goes. I'm curious to see where he's going to land, when he's going to be moved, and what he ends up. What in the return will be. Obviously, we know it's
definitely not going to be 2 1s and second or a third they gave up to get him.
Yeah. But
obviously it's going to be a second round pick for Davante Adams.
But what does this mean for the Raiders, though? Like, not trying to do all too much. Think about it. They had Josh Jacobs. He left. He went to the Packers. Davante Adams. He wants out. You released Derek Carr. Like, you had a squad.
Did they move off of Max Crosby?
And, I don't know.
Business decisions are being made. Did you move off of Crosby?
To me, Max Crosby has got I think he's got a lot of... I think there would be a lot of interest for him. He would be a great piece on a lot of teams.
Oh, Kansas City, definitely.
Well, I think
that one definitely.
That would be fucking scary as hell, dude. I'd be terrified. Karloftis, fucking the one dude that's coming back from the ACL, he'll be back. Yeah. Chris Jones. Oh, good God. Naughty. Oh, dude, I'd be scared. You got McDuffie in the... Oh, dude, that's a scary defense.
But, for the Raiders, I think it's time for them to finally just really commit
to a full rebuild.
You got some really solid pieces for a young QB to come into. The O-line is decently solid. You have a young defense led by Max Crosby.
If they had Derek Carr, Davante Adams, and Josh Jacobs, and they were not in the division with the Kansas City Chiefs, they might be. If you took that team and put it to the NFC,
they'd look like the Saints.
Yeah, 50-50.
They would look like the Saints. It's Derek Carr. Acting like he's something that he's not. It's Derek Carr.
Well...
it's just a shinier version of Jimmy Garoppolo at this point.
No, fair enough. But, again, we're gonna be keeping you guys up to date on the trade news when it happens. Like I said, we're curious to see where a lot of these guys end up. When we entered into week last week, we had 5 teams that were undefeated, and now we're down to the final 2.
Yeah.
We have the Kansas City Chiefs and the Minnesota Vikings. Those are your last undefeated teams, and of course the Vikings we all thought was going to be there. Like Sam Darnold, MVP candidate, maybe the front runner at this point. Like, I mean, wow. Like, are we a believer in the Minnesota Vikings? Are we, as a whole, a believer in the Vikings?
That's tough. I mean,
Flores, got that defense looking crazy good.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Sam Darnold, oh my God. Like, again, it's just 4 weeks into the season, but it's like, dude is leading the league in a lot of things right now.
It's crazy. Am I a believer in the Vikings? No. Am I kind of waiting for the floor to drop out on them?
So you're not a believer. You're not a believer.
No,
okay.
I'm not really to hitch my wagon there yet. I mean, it's a great story, and I'm here for it, but...
It's more of like a good story for Sam Darnold. Like, because this is the Sam Darnold you thought you were getting when he came out of USC, when he was drafted by the Jets.
Well, I mean, sometimes...
But he's also moved around. And people forget he's still only 27 years old. He's entering... This would be considered your prime, getting ready to go to your prime.
Well, sometimes organizations matter more, like organization landing spots matter more.
Well, he's also moved around a little bit. He was with the 49ers last year, finally got to experience a whole winning culture, stuff like that. He bounced around from the Jets to the Carolina Panthers. We know how trash that organization is. Then he finally landed on the 49ers, and I think him landing with the 49ers was actually great. For him.
That was good
being
for him.
Being with that coaching staff, that organization.
I think it's safe to say he's not seeing ghosts anymore.
No.
I don't think he's seeing ghosts anymore. But the big thing, though, with Sam Darnold and the Vikings is Super Bowl, NFC Championship game, win the division, however it may end. Obviously, if they end short of the playoffs, then probably not. But say they make the playoffs and the run lasts however it lasts, do you bring Sam Darnold back? Or do you...
If you're saying he stays on this trajectory and he gets into the playoffs and they just happen to, lose and for the sake of argument, say they get to the second round or NFC.
I'm just saying they could be win the division. They could be a wild card team.
I say you bring Sam Darnold back and you don't have to rush JJ because ACL, granted, medicine's different now. That injury's not a career-defining injury anymore, but you can let JJ learn. Develop, bring Sam Darnold back in, maybe on a 2-year deal with a player option one, kind of 2-year deal, kind of cheap. But yeah, I would keep Sam Darnold, especially if he's playing like this. There's no reason to rush JJ.
Well, if you would say this is peak Sam Darnold at an A+, and he eventually averages out at a B+, a high B+.
Yeah, I keep him.
I think I'd bring him back and let a big advocate of letting the rookie sit. The longer the rookie can sit, obviously, it pans out well. You can obviously develop. You can bring more around the team.
Yep.
You can afford more. I wouldn't be opposed to it. He would earn it. Unless, of course, a team comes in and chases the money.
Yeah, so...
But that's kind of between... That's him getting the bag versus the Vikings offering him something decent.
I have to admit, though, it's good to see Sam... you see the love that Sam... he's having fun. He's just... It's all for him. And again, nobody expected this. Nobody thought the Vikings 4-0, Sam Darnold MVP candidate, leading the league in touchdowns, doing all this, putting up big, and he's completing really good. He's 20. I think last week he was 20 of 29. He's completing well over 70% of his passes.
Well, there's a lot of quarterbacks that are kind of tearing it up here in the
Baker Mayfield,
Derek Carr. There's a lot of quarterbacks that are kind of tearing it up, and we necessarily wouldn't think of them really.
Yeah. The quarterbacks that we would think to be up there, Patrick, our quarterback, dog water. 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, dog water.
Brock Purdy, struggling. Aaron Rodgers, struggling.
Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence too, dog.
I wouldn't expect him to be doing anything spectacular. But
there's just a lot of quarterbacks out here that are just not looking good, and it's the guys that have kind of had their second chance. You know what I'm type of mean? That they are doing it. So kudos to them. Kansas City. Obviously undefeated, 4-0. Praise the Lord. But we in some trouble at the wide receiver position right now. It's looking like Rashid Rice did not tear an ACL, possibly, but he did get placed on IR today, so he's out at least 4 weeks regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we just talked about some wide receiver names out there: Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins, Say Jones, Christian Kirk. I know some of these guys may not be pleasing, but we need some pieces because Sky Moore's not doing it for me, dog. He is ass. Like, are we going to have to go get Tooney back? Like, maybe, like, dude, like, this is scary.
I think he's on the Browns practice squad.
Like, this is scary.
I think we just could sign him.
We're in some scary waters right now at the wide receiver position. Kansas City needs you. Get out there, bro.
Everybody said.
Can you catch a ball from Patrick?
Well, I can do better than Sky. I ain't taking no hit. I'm catching and I'm falling down. Call me Stephon Diggs. I'm gonna catch and fall. Okay.
No, that's Tyler Lockett. Catch and he fetal position.
That's fine too. Like I ain't trying to get hit.
But who would you like to see Kansas City go get? Like, if there's a name. To me personally, I like Amari Cooper, and I think Amari Cooper likes it too because he tweeted, "I wouldn't mind this." Like, anything's better than what he's got right now at quarterback.
Well, first, you gotta trust your GM.
Yeah,
and Brett.
I trust our GM.
Brett we trust, and everybody was banging down the door. We need a wide receiver. We need a wide receiver. We need a wide receiver last year, and what do? Just won back-to-back Super Bowls. Yep. Okay. This offseason, we went hard. Went and got Hollywood. Rashee Rice obviously developed into what we all saw he was coming into as a stud number one. And the room was so deep. We cut Tooney. Somehow we kept Sky. I don't know how that makes any sense.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
But now we're all banged up there, and Hollywood's coming back, but it'll be postseason. We don't know Rice. So if we don't make a move, which I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't make a move.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind going to get maybe more of like a Hopkins more than an Amari Cooper.
Okay.
But either one of those I do like, but I wouldn't see to actually correct.
What about Michael Thomas, who's a free agent?
I wouldn't mind bringing him in and see what he has.
Michael Thomas would be an interesting choice for me as well because he's had time to be healthy.
Well, the great thing
he's a free agent and he's cheap.
Very cheap. You could do both.
Yes.
Well, the problem though too is Andy Reid's offense is so schematic and it's so confusing that it takes an off season to learn it, and these guys would have to try to be learning on the fly. So I don't think we'd even get the necessary impact we would want. That's kind of why I think maybe kind of like a Hopkins, a bigger body. I kind of I can give you certain routes.
We can
routes
shrink,
where I just kind of
shrink it down a little bit.
Toss the ball to you, but bringing in Michael Thomas. We kind of feel that slot route, but that's kind of Juju, depending on how you feel on Juju.
Well, but see, we're gonna need Juju. I'm gonna need Juju from Kansas City first go around with us to kind of pop back up here. I'm gonna need it from
maybe a little bit younger Steelers Juju though. It's kind of tough. But Kareem Hunt, he balled out in his first time back.
Yes, he did. But like you said, complicated offense. Andy Reid did not play him when he first came. He wanted him to be up to speed as much as possible.
Get him kind of a little bit better shape.
And to define.
But he's been in the system before. Yes. That's different. Like Juju's been in the system. So
he even said when he came back, it still smelled the same. He was happy to be back. I'm actually generally happy that he got to come back and right the wrong that obviously he fucked up on. Fuck you, TMZ. But...
Oh, and Kareem Hunt, not Juju? I thought you were talking about Juju.
No, I'm talking about Kareem Hunt coming back.
They also said that he looks like he's obviously matured. I was very curious if he had that pop because the last year with the Browns, it didn't really seem like he really kind of had that pop. But
would you have a pop playing for Cleveland?
Well, he also I guess had an oblique injury last year.
I would have an injury too if I played for Cleveland.
Well, yeah, me too.
Give me my money. I'm gonna go have surgery. I'm gonna see you in the offseason, dog. I'm out.
But that's kind of why I'm kind of torn about necessarily feeling like we need to go all in. We're not getting Devontae Adams. There's no game changer like that.
But I also like the fact, too...
Could you just imagine in the backfield, though? Steele as a little bit different, kind of short yardage.
Yeah.
But Chico's coming back.
Yes, he is. Then you add Kareem Hunt.
And then Kareem Hunt, how he's going.
And then, obviously...
Clyde's been designated to come back.
And then you got Para, who...
I think
someone's going to be an odd man out here.
Well, I think Para's going to end up being the odd man out.
So, but... Yeah, again, for our Kansas City Chiefs, be curious to see what happens. We are 4-0. Vikings are 4-0.
Nothing's wrong with just being ground and pound and just just control the clock and just take the air out of it and rely on our top three defense.
Outside of that, Patrick Mahomes, bro, I'm gonna need you to play a little bit better, bro. It's not looking good. I got you on fantasy now. Made a blockbuster trade. Gotta live with it now. Dog, I need you to play better, please. Give me something. Stop throwing interceptions.
He has to be smarter with the ball.
Absolutely.
And quit putting the defense in such bad predicaments.
Our defense,
honestly.
though, like, L'Jarius Sneed who? Like, we looking good. Like,
Trick McDuffie definitely deserved all the praise he got last year, and he's definitely still shelling out without, his running mate there.
So, we just got done talking about the teams that were undefeated.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the lonely team that hasn't won a game yet. Your favorite quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are 0-4. They have not won a game since week 12 of last season, like we talked about last week when we were talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. The owner, came out before the season started, said this is the greatest team ever assembled in Jacksonville. That's a lie. He also came out and said that Doug Peterson won't be fired. Doug Peterson came out and said that he hasn't lost the locker room.
Damn. If you have to say that, aren't you about to lose the locker room? I feel like every time I'm not firing my head coach. And head coach come out and say, I haven't lost the locker room.
Trevor Lawrence is making $55 million.
Well-deserved money.
Like,
he top 8 quarterback in the NFL? Easy? Probably top 5?
Honestly, I feel like you better quarterback.
Well, honestly, maybe Mac Jones. Maybe we need to start rooting for Mac and Cheese.
Your 2K player throws a better pass.
Well,
Trevor Lawrence.
50-50.
What needs to change here? Evan Ingram banged up. Christian Kirk they're looking to trade.
Honestly,
they got no run game. It just don't look good. It's bad. They look bad. And some of the games have been close, but Trevor Lawrence, did you forget how to throw a football?
There's plenty of talent around him with a Super Bowl winning head coach. And
I generally don't.
I don't know how obviously like we keep saying.
It's so happy because a couple years ago we were
2 years ago
they're gonna peak. They were there, and then it just fucking
the floor fell out.
Oh, dude.
The year that we thought they made the playoffs, made that humongous comeback against the Chargers. Y'all are here next year.
They fell short to us in that playoffs.
Rightfully so, though, because you gotta do your dues. And then the following year, they're winning. They're winning, kind of close, you look kind of funny, and then the floor fell out, and they just haven't been able to gather it back together. Then they paid Trevor Lawrence in the offseason for whatever reason, and then they traded for Mac Jones for his backup, which is obviously
after you already paid
weird.
Trevor Lawrence, which I didn't understand.
Which was weird and. Oh, but it's never bad to have a really good, solid backup in the NFL. Just ask the Dolphins.
But it don't look good when the backup quarterback looks way better than you in preseason.
So I don't really know what they do, but if they're going to get the first dub this week, they play the Colts. I don't know if AR is going to go with his injury, but Joe Flacco.
Don't sleep on Sleepy Flacco, okay?
The dude's just trying to get paid, all right? He's just trying to sleep.
He's just trying to show his kids that he's cool, all right? They just want to see Daddy play.
He just doesn't want to be home with his kids, all right? That's why he's still playing. Don't play. Play.
Yeah, if you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, I feel sorry for you. Put the bag over your head, and, it's not looking good. 0-4, your season's a wrap. I don't see no playoffs.
What if they lose to the Colts? What if they take an L?
The owner and everybody can come out and say no changes going to be made.
That's 0-5.
If you fall to 0-5, a change has got to be made. And it's sad, too, because I think Doug Peterson's a solid head coach. He comes from that Andy Reid tree.
Yeah.
And when you come from the Andy Reid tree, you're solid. And I do think Doug Peterson's a solid head coach, but...
He took that backup Nick Foles in that Eagles team.
Let me ask you this, and this is a serious question, because there has been some truth behind it to a degree. Could Bill Belichick fix this situation? Could he come
fix the Jags?
Bill Belichick, he's been linked to them.
No. He ain't touching the Jags with a 10-foot pole.
Okay, I'm just asking because he's been linked.
Where would you start? Could you ask me? You are trying to ask
Mac Jones would ask to leave. Mac Jones hey, dude, I'm out. I'm not doing this again.
And the defense has a lot of talent. So I think the defense would be better underneath Bill Belichick, obviously, but that doesn't help you. That helps your defense. It doesn't help your offense. I'm not sure.
If they got rid of Doug Peterson and Bill Belichick's not, I don't know where you go. I don't know who you go. I don't even think Brian Flores could fix this.
Again, it'd help your defense and maybe stronger hand, maybe. But again, it starts with the quarterback because he has plethora of weapons.
We'll keep it 100. Trevor Lawrence has talent, but we're waiting to see it. We've seen glimpses of it at times.
Early on, but
like now I'm like,
where's it been the past 8 games dating back to last year? Does he really have talent? Or is he just honestly overhyped college prospect that got drafted number 1, overhyped, and this is really what he is?
Mean, on other podcasts, Trevor Lawrence is the greatest thing that ever.
He's
touched
a fucking savior for the Jags and saved the team from going overseas. The NFL would never let that happen. Like you need to be canceled because that would never happen.
But
you're just
question
reaching.
becomes: will Jacksonville get their first win this weekend? We'll have to stay tuned and find out on that. But that's really about everything that's going on in the NFL. Where, like I said, the biggest thing we're going to be paying close attention to is the trade deadline, injuries and stuff like that. Obviously, they're piling up. Hamstrings are clearly taking over the league, taking everybody out the league right now. But
according to Ocho Cinco, the guys
eat McDonald's,
eating more Mickey D's.
Yeah, pretty much. Moving on over to baseball. Shout out to our Kansas City Royals. They swept the Oilers 2-0.
No, not the Oilers.
Baltimore, sorry.
Baltimore who?
I don't know, but it's Baltimore.
Okay.
They took out Baltimore.
It gotta be tough to be in Baltimore. The Chiefs bounce you in the AFC Championship game.
I think they've lost, 10 straight playoff games, I think it is, or something like that.
Well, I'm just saying Kansas City Chiefs beat the Ravens.
Yep.
And then the Royals go in and beat the Baltimore, and they gave the shutout, very first ever shutout for the Royals.
Yep.
1-0, and then we take the next one 2-1 to move on to LDS versus the Yankees.
It's gonna be tough.
What a time to be alive as a Kansas
Think about that,
City
because last year we were last place. Now we're
damn near.
So
now we're
second round of the MLB Playoffs. This is gonna be interesting. We still got one more game. The Mets and the Braves play. Oh, Bruins.
Sorry.
Bruins, yeah. The New York Mets and the Bruins play. That series is tied up. Winner will move on to face Philly. We got the San Diego Padres and the LA Dodgers. That's actually going to be a good series.
Good one.
You got Detroit and Cleveland. That's going to be a good one. We already said that it really should be the Dodgers and Yankees in the World Series.
Well, I don't necessarily know about that. The Yankees, ever since...
The Dodgers have the most pressure to get there.
The Dodgers have
Ohtani's in the playoffs, dude. Ohtani there.
The Dodgers have the most... They have the highest payroll. They have the most talent, the most stars. But, coming out of the NLS... Yeah, probably should be the Dodgers, but the Dodgers have fallen short from time to time. But
I would love to see...
I want to
see Dodgers and Philly. Bryce Harper versus the Dodgers. I just want to see it. I want to see it. And, could you imagine the upset it would be for our Royals to take out the New York Yankees? Bro.
It would be an upset, but, I wouldn't put it past the Royals getting past the Yankees. The Yankees just,
I will tell you this.
Flop.
The Yankees are favored in this series. But don't sleep on the Royals. Don't sleep on them.
Past history does not favor the Yankees in the playoffs. So the Yankees have flopped a lot.
Who you got? Detroit, Cleveland.
Honestly, give me Cleveland.
Damn. I was actually going Detroit personally. But okay,
that's fine. We don't have to be the same.
And then obviously Yankees, Royals. We're going Royals there, obviously.
Even though you're tooting the Yankees' horn,
they're gonna be favored in the series. Let's keep it a buck. But
you're sitting there saying Yankees.
I'm not gonna go against our team. That's no.
Okay. Well, and then, I also like the Royals. I think it's a good matchup for the Royals.
You got San Diego and LA.
I think that
it should be LA.
Should be. And
then regardless, whoever Philly faces, if it's the Bruins or the Mets, I think Philly takes it.
I think if Philly faces the Bruins, I think the Bruins. Give me the Bruins actually against Philly.
Ooh, buddy, you're saying if they face the Mets, then it's Philly. Okay, that's fair enough. But yeah, that's the MLB playoffs. It's gonna be great. Think about it. Monday. This coming Monday, you got a Royals game going on while you got a Kansas City Chiefs game going on.
It's crazy.
That's going to be wild.
Kansas City's going to be popping.
Call out the next day because you're not going to work. You
might not be able to make it home.
By the time you get out of there, boy, it's going to be woo! might as well just set back up your grill and start cooking.
And that's just like one of the great things about having neighboring stadiums like that.
Yes.
That I just like because I know the Royals are looking to try to relocate and move.
Yep.
Like more downtown.
Yep.
And the Chiefs are looking to renovate or relocate to the Kansas side of Kansas City. Honestly, I prefer that they both stayed there and just kind of like revamped their stadium. It's just such a cool atmosphere, even when you're going to a Chiefs game, to see Kauffman Stadium there.
It was nice to see. It was really cool to see it. But yeah, that's the MLB playoffs. We're going to be bringing that to you guys a lot more. I don't know if we'll be able to catch a Royals game. It would be great too, but if not this year, we'll definitely try to get into one of them games next year because I've never been to a baseball game like I've said. I've never.
Like, do you even know sports? Like, do you even do sports?
On TV. Like, I played sports.
Did you?
I did.
I don't think we need proof. I think I need a resume.
I'll get you that resume.
All right. When it says junior varsity.
Let me get the DVD player, not the VCH tape. Let me get the DVD player out.
Oh, wow.
Woo,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure you're old enough that's VHS. Orange VSS tape.
But, moving on to the WNBA, before we talk about the playoffs, the voting came out for Rookie of the Year for Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
She got 66 of the 67 votes. One person voted for Angel Reese, which, again, Angel Reese was in the mix there for a while, and then Caitlin obviously just obliterated it and took off with
the
it.
All-Star.
You've been saying this for a couple years now, even before we were doing the podcast and doing the sports stuff. Put your name behind your vote. I need to know who you are. Because I might need to revoke your credentials. I really do. From here on out, if I see anybody else vote for Rudy Gobert for a Defensive Player of the Year award, I want your credentials revoked. No. To me, Caitlin Clark should have been the unanimous Rookie of the Year. She dominated.
It wasn't even close.
It was not close.
Not after it was all said and done.
Especially after the break.
Yeah.
She was on fire.
Andrew Reese got hurt. It has to be the full collective of a season. You got to make the full season, in my opinion. And
yeah. And
she
don't
took
get
a lesser
twisted.
roster,
Angel Reese had a great rookie season. She did.
She did.
And I think she's going to only get better as her offensive game develops. But, man, I didn't like the fact that one vote because there was no need to do it. And
sometimes you always just have that one person. Well, they can't be unanimous this, so I'm just going to vote the other thing just to be different, just to be spiteful.
And since you want to be different, put your name behind it because honestly, the credentials might be being revoked, thrown away, and you being pushed out the door.
It's just like Rudy Gobert got Defensive Player of the Year. Who voted for him? Because I need to know because you're wrong. Should have been Victor. Same way when LeBron should have been the first unanimous MVP.
I just know, and he missed it by one. Show me a Defensive Player of the Year that gets benched.
In the playoffs.
In the playoffs, fourth quarter, FIFA.
His national team benched him in the Olympics. What does that tell you? You're not even the best player. You're not even good enough to be on the starting lineup in the crunch time.
It's just I have so many questions when it comes to some of these people that get to do voting and who's got to vote. And obviously there's a lot of, politics that go into it, but come on now. But moving on to the playoffs. We do have a lot of you guys that don't know, in the WNBA there's no seeds. It's just you throw them in how you came in and you play.
So it's 1 through 8.
It's 1 through 8.
East and West.
Yeah. So
one big pool.
The New York Liberty are up 2-0 on the Las Vegas Aces, and if you guys didn't know, that was the WNBA Finals last year. The Liberty and the Aces. So the Aces are the defending champs. They're trying to three-peat. New York's only got to win one more game, and then they're moving on back to the WNBA Finals. To me, Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu, they've just been dominant in this series. They are out for blood. They're going crazy. Asia Wilson's had some great games, but she's just not getting a whole lot of other help from the supporting cast, the bench play. So I do think the Liberty are moving on to the WNBA Finals. I think they actually might... If anything, the Aces might get a game, but I'm predicting a sweep here. I'm predicting
get the brooms out.
So, on the other end, or what about you? You saying brooms
brooms?
Brooms. Yeah, the Liberty. They're out for blood right now. They're moving there's just been so much turmoil with the Aces this year. They haven't been very dominant. Asia Wilson has had to uplift them in a lot of games this year.
Well, according to their coach, they're just out doing commercials.
Yeah, before we move on, we got to talk about that. So, Becky Hammond pretty much literally said in a press conference that it's hard for the team to be focused when they're out being celebrities. And you're like, you don't want them to get money. I just think it's more like...
They don't want to grow the brand of the WNBA?
Do you think that it went to... I mean, they're back-to-back champions.
If men can do it, women can do it.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Men out here...
Definitely was a shot taken at her team to... I think it was more of like... I think it came out wrong. I don't think she meant it how it came out. At least, I'm not saying... But it was like almost a shot like, you guys need to refocus back in. Like, you guys are out here putting yourself in all these commercials, getting all these brand deals, which, again, I'm happy for them. Like, go get it because I'm loving where the WNBA is going. Like, and we need it to go further. Otherwise, like...
Well, how was she supposed to take it? Should say, was she trying to come out her team telling you to focus or telling them, quit trying to grow your brand and quit trying to grow the WNBA? Because if I'm growing my brand, I'm growing the WNBA.
Pretty much. So
you're saying stay focused.
She definitely took a major shot.
The NBA players, they go overseas.
Yeah.
And they grow and they do their brand over there and they still come back.
Yep.
And they still perform at their level. So maybe you just ain't got it this year. Because, I mean, you're top dogs back to back. It's always hard. Just say that you just, you're the top dog and you're getting the best shot night in and night out, and it takes a toll. Say that if you feel like your team's not focused, maybe that should have been something you figured out throughout the season versus in the playoffs,
like I said,
in the second round.
Yeah, like I said, that's why I think the brooms are coming out. The Liberty are just they are locked in, they are focused, they're trying to get back to the WNBA finals.
Well, they have their revenge tour right
yes,
there.
They are on a revenge tour. On the other side, we have the Minnesota Lynx and the Connecticut Sun, and this series right here is tied up at 1-1. This series has been a dogfight. Like these girls are going at it. And I love it. Like, people are like, oh, my God. Like, no, like, I'm here for the physicality. Like, especially when the women are going at it. It's a lot better than when the men are going at it because these girls are really, they going at it. This series, to me, like, I'm torn because, like, the Connecticut Sun, like, defensively, what they can do to a team defensively is great. But, like, the offense that the Minnesota Lynx have is crazy as well. So, I'm torn. I do think, overall, the Lynx are going to move on in this series, but I'm actually more glued to the Lynx Sun series than the Aces and Liberty series.
The Suns is pretty much over.
Well, because yes, but it's just the physicality in this game has just been a hell of a lot more funner to watch. But
funner?
Fun to watch.
It's been a lot more funner.
It is.
A lot more funner to watch the Lynx.
And the people that are like, I can't believe y'all watch WNBA basketball. Like, I'm here to help grow the sport. I'm happy that it's growing.
We actually drop that rim a foot, you're going to have a lot more fucking eyes on that. I'm telling you, who doesn't want to see another woman poster another woman? That's a poster to have.
Yeah, that would be a poster.
There'd be a lot of posters. There'd be a lot of body parts on body parts posterizing people. I tell you what. Like, tell me I'm wrong. That is. It's a poster to have.
Would you put it on your wall?
I'll put it downstairs.
Fair enough.
Put it downstairs.
But yeah, that's our plans. We're gonna keep that up to you. I'm going Lynx and Liberty in the WNBA finals.
I think the Suns.
I do think the Liberty, regardless, are taking.
No, me too. But I think it's
they are out for blood right now.
Yeah, I got the Suns. You got the Suns.
So, in the NBA world, sticking with basketball, we did have our blockbuster trade that kind of just happened here. Karl Anthony Towns is now a New York Knick.
Yes.
They chose to get rid of. They kept Rudy. Like, how does that make you? Minnesota kept Rudy. Like, Anthony Edwards somewhere just like, nah, help me, please.
Well, like, I called it when they were in the playoffs, and I'm like during the season, so I was like, one of these bigs got to go. When they traded for Rudy, I'm like, that's not going to work. These Twin Towers was not ever going to work. The fact that they chose to keep Rudy either meant that there was no market to get rid of Rudy, or they see Rudy playing a certain kind of role better with Ant.
So, again, a little bit more. Dante Valenciano and Julius Randle went to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yes. Karl Anthony Towns came to the New York Knicks to team up with Miles Bridges, Brunson and all them guys. So, again, I don't know how much Karl Anthony Towns moves the needle for the New York Knicks because Cat has not been consistent in the playoffs. We saw how he looked last year shooting the three ball. He wants to shoot threes. He doesn't want to be a big man.
He's probably the best big man that can shoot, but it's hard to say. I almost would want to say that the pressure is off of him because obviously he was
Brunson's
the dude, but like when he was in Minnesota, he was the guy that had some,
And before Ant started to
and then Ant got there, and Ant kind of is the guy, and obviously is the guy. But the pressure's still on him because he is like the dude. You are the big man.
Yeah.
And so really,
the pick and roll game. I'd be very curious to see how the Knicks run that pick and roll game because.
What do you think his body's even going to be able to withstand?
Well, he's going to have to.
Tom Thibodeau's. Yeah. You're going to play 55, 65. You're going to play 2 games in one day. Like that's how that. Like I mean.
So I guess for me, like.
But you're not that pick and roll
is going to be incredible. On the other side of this trade, I honestly kind of feel bad for Anthony Edwards because I don't know how him and Julius Randle with Rudy Gobert is going to work. Julius Randle takes a lot of the mid-range, like a lot of the floor, and then Rudy Gobert just out there, hi, I'm Rudy, like, and then there's Ant, dog. What am I supposed to do? Like, I generally don't know how this actually helps Minnesota. I think this actually hurts Minnesota. Well, I think New York won the trade, and Minnesota kind of got... I'm not saying Julius Randle's a bad player in any way, but his game and Anthony Edwards' game does not mix. At least when he had Towns, they had some type of,
You think the Knicks won the trade?
I do think the Knicks
I don't think the Knicks won the trade. I don't, like you said, it doesn't move the needle.
But I'm just talking about fit for fit. What was transpired basically moved. It was basically Rudy Cat and Julius basically.
Right, but I think Julius gives them another scoring option to where it's not all on Ant. Like you just definitely in the playoffs, you could focus all your energy. You can focus and scheme the defense to stop Ant. But now you have Julius, which is he's great in the mid range.
He's actually an enforcer though. He's not going back down. Like Cat doesn't. I don't know if Cat has that like. I'm gonna, be mean. Like Julius Randle, he has that. He got that in him.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I see what you're saying
coach
there.
Is like again, like we kind of said about Luka and Kyrie.
They're gonna have to fix the offense. They're gonna have to tweak this.
Well,
to me,
like we said about Luka and Kyrie,
I know there's got to be some type of market for Rudy. Like again, just take what you can get for Rudy. Like I don't know what it is. If it's a cheeseburger stand, like I don't know.
Who wants like a 7 foot, almost like 3 dude that he just stands
because
there
to me, I would rather go more Naz Reid over Rudy Gobert. At least Naz, he gives you that floor.
That was one of the reasons why they moved.
Yes, because they wouldn't be able to afford Naz Reid and some other guys on that team. But I'll be curious to see how this dynamic works in New York.
It'll come down a lot to coaching to make it work for the Timberwolves.
Like you said, it's going to come down to coaching.
It's going to be harder for the Timberwolves to make it work than for the Knicks, just because he is a stretch big in Cat. But I like a lot more what the Timberwolves got in Julius than what the Knicks potentially are going to be able to get out of Cat.
Other news in the NBA, Lonzo Ball is going to be ready for the start of the season. Like, Lonzo Ball is going to play.
I'll believe when I see it.
Like, last time Lonzo Ball stepped on an NBA floor, he was 24. This time around, he's going to be 27. So, it's been some time since we've seen Lonzo Ball and his brand new knee. Like, it's basically a whole new leg for him. Like,
you got it from Germany?
He got it from somewhere.
Well.
But, I'm happy. Like, Chicago, like, they got a lot of guards. They got Josh Giddey. They signed Primo. They got Zach LaVine. Like, if you really look at Chicago's media day, like, some of those guys just like, I'm still a Chicago Bull. Please get me out. Help me.
Here? The summer's over, and I'm still here.
But Lonzo's going to be back.
Ben Simmons, your boy.
Ben Simmons, apparently, like, he healthy, like, and one of the best trainers in the league, Chris Brickley came out and he never endorses anybody. He said Ben's back. So again, one of those things like I'll fucking believe it when I see it. But if he is back to before he fell apart, I mean, if I'm Brooklyn, he looks good. The trade value would go up tremendously for Ben Simmons, and I would move on ASAP. But
sell high,
very high. In other news, little sad news. Derrick Rose officially retired from the NBA, and unfortunately, the big question comes down to that everyone's going to talk about with Derrick Rose, Hall of Fame. Like, no. Is he going to be the first MVP to not be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame? Real quick, like, just so we are clear, tough. Derrick Rose only scored 12,573 points. Like, he doesn't have, to me, the stats don't measure, Hall of Fame. He's only got 3,700 assists, a little over 500 steals, a little over 200 blocks, just a little over 1,000 rebounds. So, like, his stats don't scream
but
Hall of Fame. Granted, injuries, fucking Tom Thibodeau, motherfucker took Derrick Rose from
Isn't it just kind of unfortunate and just one of those things where it's just shoulda, coulda,
to his peers, he's a Hall of Famer, but to the outside world, as much as we love Derrick Rose, and to me, I say Derrick Rose is probably the most loved NBA player that was in the NBA. Like, just don't think anybody really hated Derrick Rose, but
over Kevin Love.
Well, I'm just
saying, I don't think anybody hates Kevin Love. But I don't even think his peers necessarily...
Kelly Olynyk did when he ripped his arm out of the socket. That might be the only dude.
Maybe just one guy, but I don't even... It's hard to say even his peers necessarily see him as a Hall of Fame. I mean, they might say that, he belongs in the Hall of Fame because, he won, Rookie of the Year, and then the following year he won MVP.
Youngest MVP in NBA history.
His fifth, but, and injuries unfortunately happen, and
he was just never able to
shorten careers, and they change career paths, and unfortunately it changes his trajectory to where he never could. Now you could roll all the way back, and maybe the Heatles become the Bullets, and that would have changed Derrick Rose's trajectory completely in a lot of different ways, but it didn't. And I just don't think he is.
Torment people. I agree. You look at his stats and you really think about it. It's not Hall of Fame worthy. And
young Rose was on that trajectory, but like you said, injuries, and you just wasn't able to get back.
To me, it was also
that form.
To me, it was a mental thing. Derrick Rose never trusted that knee ever again. He just never went back. Think about it, he never went back to playing like he used to play. Like,
sometimes
he just
that was a lot. I don't want to say before modern medicine, but that was before like injuries like that. You came back from potentially stronger and healthier. With that said, ACLs and meniscus injuries, and he had a lot of. As soon as he injured it, it was just he just kept on injuring his knees.
Yes,
and a lot of his spring left, which he was a very athletic, very springy guard, small, undersized guard, unfortunately, and when he can't necessarily shoot lights out, and a lot of your like Dwayne Wade, his career was cut short because of injuries. But Dwayne Wade obviously has the stats and the accolades to back up potentially being a Hall of Famer. So it's a little bit different.
Derrick Rose is just one of those guys, like, when he came down the lane at you, you weren't stopping his first step. He was angry. He was putting it on your head. It was just unfortunate that his career went the way it went. But he still had a very solid, good backup career.
Great career from beginning to end. Honestly, a player that reminds me a lot of his, not necessarily a lot of his game, but like his athletic ability.
Ja Morant.
Is Ja. And like he, not necessarily like the dunker, but like the acrobat layups.
Just kind of the explosion, the takeoff. Like, and.
But again, take that away from Ja.
But shout out to Derrick Rose, man. Like, it was a career. I'm happy for you. I would have loved to see you get a chip, but. Definitely, we're getting in that part of our lives now where like our favorite players, the players we kind of grew up watching, are fizzling out. Like we don't got many left. Durant, Chris Paul, LeBron. Like there's not a lot left.
I just know when LeBron retires, you need 3 days off of work.
I'm gonna need some time.
You're gonna need some bereavement leave because you're gonna have to sit there in the dark in the corner, hold yourself, and coop with LeBron no longer playing.
It's gonna be
basketball.
Weird. It's definitely gonna be. It was weird when Kobe retired and the next season started. And there was no Kobe Bryant. Like it was weird when there was no Melo. And Melo, like to me, I felt bad that Melo didn't get like a farewell thing. Like
But it also came out. He had the opportunity to kind of have
he
one.
did, and then he chose not to because it just. But like it's just, I just can't believe we're now in our time where the players we grew up watching, we loved, are now just they're leaving, and now.
Well, that's kind of at age, as you know, being.
We're getting old.
Yes, you are.
We, not I.
Some of us aren't as old as others. So you can go yourself.
But real quick, college football. I know we're switching back to football here. The AP Top 25 came out. Alabama moved up to number 1 after that crazy win over Georgia where they were dominating, and then Georgia came back in. And then, the high schooler that's supposed to be in high school that's in college saved them.
Reclassified.
Ryan Williams. Oh, my God. I just want to know, like, how do you think DBs feel when they allow me? Like, damn, that's a high schooler. And he just torching you. Like, that dude crazy.
I just know I don't want to see him again.
Like, I can't imagine. He's doing this, like, it's so crazy because, like, he's really a high schooler, senior, that obviously reclassified, had the ability to move up. He's a true freshman playing on Alabama, and he's their number 1 dude.
Well, that's why, like, if I'm a corner, like, I feel like I'm like, damn, I just got torched. I'm like, you're playing on Bama as a true freshman. Dog got talent. Like, it's not like he's like, we
gotta wait 3 years before we can potentially see him go to the league. Like,
well, I mean, if you count this year, yeah.
Yes.
He can go after, so technically 2 more years, but yes, you're not wrong. You get this year and 2 more years, but like, I'm like, the dude's great talent. He's the number 1 guy on Bama as a true freshman.
So, the AP Top 25, I'm going to give you the top 10. And I want you to tell me if you agree or disagree. We got Alabama at 1.
Yeah.
Texas 2.
With Archie Manning. They led the way for the past 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Quinn's coming back. He's going to take over against Oklahoma.
I think rightfully so.
Which, again, you don't lose your job to injury. But Texas...
Well, you can lose your job to injury. But
not like...
Again, Archie wouldn't be Archie if you didn't take the smart path and sit.
Yeah.
And so we got some great flashes and we got a good taste.
Good taste. Texas fans got to be excited for when
how they're handling the SEC right now. Yeah.
You got Ohio State at number 3.
Yeah.
Tennessee at 4.
Good for Tennessee.
Georgia's down to 5.
Which honestly, it's kind of tough, but they did take a loss and they didn't look great. For
Think about it. They went from 1 to 5. They dropped 4 spots.
Yeah, I mean, they lost. So you have to fall.
Okay, and then you got Oregon number 6. Okay, Penn State 7. The University of Miami at 8. Missouri 9. Michigan at 10.
Who's 11?
USC.
Yeah, I think that's to me it's pretty solid 10. I mean, you can kind of flip some around here or there, but honestly, that's pretty
we have
solid.
K-State all the way down at 20 at 4-1.
Yeah.
I'm a little Colorado's not in the AP 25. And they've only lost 1 game, and it was to Nebraska. But
shouldn't have lost though. Shouldn't have lost.
But overall, I'm not mad. College football is getting interesting. Right now, a lot of these teams, we're not getting the big matchups yet. The biggest matchup we've had was Alabama and Georgia, and that lived up to, obviously, the hype in the second half. The first half, it was an absolute dumpster fire.
Yeah, it was.
And then, but the Heisman race right now, honestly, is probably between 2 guys to me personally. Ashton Jeffrey from Boise State, running back, and then Travis Hunter, in my personal opinion. If you want to go with me, a throw in a third, Cam Ward for the University of Miami. But that running back from Boise State, dude, has damn near got 1,000 yards already.
He's on trajectory for over 3,000 rushing yards.
Dude is going nuts right now. Dude is, 82 carries, 845 yards, and 13 touchdowns. He's averaging 10.3 yards a carry. Yep. Dude is going bananas. And he's doing this at Boise State. Damn.
He's only 5'9". He's a little back, but he's killing it on both sides. To me, though, I think it's obviously he was my Heisman front runner, but I also think Milroe from Bama is probably number 2. Travis Hunter
should be on both sides. Elite.
Yeah, but he should be in the conversation. but it's also
does he have a legit, real chance at all winning the Heisman, or is it he's going to be in the running?
Colorado has to be in a big bowl game. Not obviously they won't. I don't think ever get into the playoffs, but they have to be ranked in the top 25 for Travis Hunter really to be considered seriously, because you can't be considered for a Heisman being at Colorado and playing both sides and not be in the top 25.
Bro, it's just crazy to think that we are 5 weeks into the season.
Boise State's 3-1 as well.
Like, they're 4 weeks into the season. This dude damn near got 1,000 yards rushing.
Yeah, on pace for 3,000 yards.
Like, oh my God. It's been a long time since we've seen a running back outright. Like, you have to go way back to, I think, like Mark Ingram from Alabama. Last time you had a running back win the Heisman,
and he's doing this all running. Like, he doesn't, not really any receiving yards. No, or none. He had 1 catch for 7, none from the previous, and then 2 for 8 and 3 for 4. So he's just carrying the rock.
The one loss came against Oregon.
And no fumbles.
What did he do rushing against, go over to rush, what did he do against Oregon?
25 for 192.
God
3
damn!
He's had, against Oregon, he posted a 70-yard run. That's crazy. His longest is 77.
Oh.
And it was a 37 so that's Boise is 3-1, only lost to number 7, Oregon, and lost 37-34.
Oh.
Just against, they had 25 carries for 192 yards.
Look what he did against the University of Washington. Washington State. 26 carries.
For 259 yards and 4 tutties.
God.
Averaging, he's literally outside of Oregon where he averaged 7.7. He's averaging way over 10 yards per carry.
Like he is the front runner. Like he number 1.
I mean, is it him or is it an O-line? Like how are you letting this? How is he popping for a first down every touch?
Like, dude is crazy. But again, there's so much sports going on right now. We got everything going on. We got baseball. We got basketball. The NBA season starting up. NFL. So we're gonna be bringing so much to you guys. You stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys next week.